Good evening, folks. 1st of August 2022, 1:16 in the morning, and I'm here in work as I always am when I do these videos, shining the light by night. And I've got a absolute mind blower, as always. Well, absolutely mind blowing, some of this, but obviously proof of the pudding's in the eating, as they say. And right, and with that, I will delay no longer, and we'll show you what's been revealed to me. Okay, firstly, I did the first, the 10 lost tribes of Israel, and came out with the following message, just so anybody new to this. I mean, these three are the excess on top of the 10, so we've got 11, 12, 13. There is a 14th, but I'll come to that when I've got it completely. But each of these tribes, when you use the biblical name, as for example, the 11th tribe is Levi, and they're in fact the Druids. Judah, or Judah as it's known, but it's Judah. Right, they're actually one of the same as Joseph. Joseph is the Mark of Mammon, so 13 becomes 12. And I will prove this because the message you get from this is absolutely phenomenal. And anybody new to this channel, I welcome you first. And I, don't take any of the, these codes individually. Go back through the other videos, and you will see how this all pieces together, and everything is, backable. It's not me sort of talking pie in the sky. I get downloads. I get triggers, as I'll show you one shortly, and then obviously this all just uncodes in front of me in the most miraculous way. There's no other way of putting it. This information is coming from the Tetragrammaton, whatever that actually is, I don't know, but obviously something is feeding information into me from the Most High, Yahweh. And like I say, this code, when I do it now, will tell you what's gone on and what all this is about, because this pretty much sums it up. Right, firstly, this just quickly, just to go through the 10 tribe message. I've rejigged it a little bit, the letters. As I say, sometimes it takes me to it. I get to unscrabble it, and then I look at it and I think those letters, those not changing the words, the actual words, but just changing the format around a bit. So I've done it a little bit on what I'm about to read. But effectively, when you take the 10 tribes with their biblical names, and then you take their decoded names, this is the message you get, just to show you that well, if this is coincidence, it's one heck of a coincidence. Well, given everything I've done, it's impossible to be coincidence, I would suggest. But anyway, right, so the 10 tribe message is: I, Marco, in Rus, in Mon. He's in a map H video, which I am in a map H video. Seen G Roos, seen Bull as H, this is the Bull, the Joseph, and the H, well, as I'll show you now, is the why you add a H, because it'll tell you, I'll come to that now, but it's to do with Joseph. Seen Siren, well, that's to do with Sirencester, which actually encodes to Nicer Secret. Nicer Secret being the safe zone that I've obviously encoded, and I've got something amazing to come with that. Next line, I came, Cass is H, ties adds gear. Well, gear is the hill fort in Newport, so any question that the Cassie are not from the tribe of Issachar are not from Newport, you add the gear fort, and that really ties it up, because that would have to be one almighty coincidence that happens to be there as well. Then you've got Atlas Angel, I pin H. Well, pin H is where I am right now in Corsham. That says Marcos H. And then it says ran codec video. Well, I'm running codec videos constantly from the place that I pin H, which is Corsham, Marcos H. Also, it's a place called Eastleighs, Corsham, which is yes, Atlas, Marcos H. Okay, just again, so the chances of this all being coincidence are nil. They really are nil. Now, the last one is seen being Roos. In other words, well, this is to do with Ventusai Lurum, or Kaya Went, where I live. That's been re-decoded, and it's basically is Jerusalem. So seen being Jerusalem, And then it says a Siluri tribe at Mon. Well, the kingdom of Solar Mon is the ancient kingdom of Mon, which is where the safe code and everything else comes to. As I've got something again phenomenal to go with that now. Right, so without further ado, I'll just decode this first one, and this will tell you what all this is about, what's gone on, and why. What's well, for whatever reason, I've been given this ability to do what I'm doing, which was all pre-written, predestined. Like I say, my life changed so much in a year, 2 years, yeah, 2 years probably. I don't know, I've lost track of it a bit, but it's just going into the 3rd year. So, and obviously from nothing, I've managed miraculously to decode week to week, or as good as week to week, everything and anything practically, and it's still coming. Right, okay. Right, if you wish to write this down, and like I say, pause the video, write these down, and then you can checklist these off and scratch them off. But all I'm going to do is anagram this into the sentence that gives you the code basically, and tells you what's going on. Right, this says, obviously Old English, ye druids, hid Yah, and that's what they've done. Obviously his name's been taken out of the Gold Testament 6,800 times and replaced with God, with the word God. So Marco actually that's not going to be there, it's going to be unveils map. Okay, that's an exact anagram of what it says. It says, ye druid hid Yah. No, I think it isn't. Hang on, unveil map. No, I'm not happy with that. That doesn't seem right. That's better. Okay, ye druids hid Yah, so Marco unveil map. And this is what all this is about. It's about me using maps. And again, this all ties in with the Solomon temple symbology. Again, like I say, I've got some good studying with that, and basically working out the truth of what's gone on and why they've hidden everything and moved. I think what's gone on is that all these places abroad, like don't take this as read of the places, but places like Persia and Syria and well, obviously Israel, they've created their own Israel, Judah, Lebanon, all these places were actually places in Britain, smaller places with each individual tribe. And what they've done, piece by piece, is actually extended, literally hidden, like, well, if you imagine New South Wales in Australia is probably, if going back then, they were obviously a lot more brutal in the way they did things, and obviously, there's been a lot of death in, like the Marco Mannai tribe, being the tribe of Joseph, that were exiled and they were scrubbed off the map. That's, I think I've shown you, in the most amazing way where they've been hidden. But obviously then bit by bit, so if Wales disappeared and just say it's not going to happen, but let's just suppose England then takes over Wales physically in a war, as it would then, and they literally take away the word Wales, Gymru. And I think what's gone on is a lot of culling of adults and re-education of children, which is pretty much, sadly, where they seem to be sort of heading at this point in time as well, if I'm honest. But anyway, but effectively, if and in generations to come, nobody would even know Wales existed. You take the off New South Wales in Australia, and South Wales is now Australia, and this is the sort of like example I'm given to sort of just like try to give you an idea of like the Solomon Islands as well. You've got the Solomon Islands, so anybody. Well, I know they're not directly, but again, it's just a good example that. They're carrying the name of Solomon, but they're not really the Solomon's Islands, because this is the island of Solomon, without a doubt. But all being unveiled in maps. Right. Okay, I'm just going to pause you a second. So as you can see, if you're new to this, this is what's gone on. The Druids, with the priesthood, but not you know, the ancient priesthood of Yah. Not, they're supposed to be pagan and all this. This is everything's been turned upside down, literally, and it states that in the Old Testament. You know, you're turning things upside down. Well, that's what they've done. They're making out that these are sort of like these sacrificing people, and I don't know what they've done, but they're lying basically. Or the original Druids, and they're called Druids because they drew IDs as well. Now, they're probably making me the head Druid at the moment, in the real Druid, because that's exactly what I'm doing, is drawing IDs. But they used to put stones on the ground and map the stars, and there's a Babylonian star map that actually matches hills, mountains, natural features all over Wales. There's a channel, I'll have to work out to put links up one day, and I'll put that up. But yeah, but so there's something very special. Well, they doubt there is something very special about Wales, and this is what's been hidden, and why the history of Wales has been buried, literally. And this is what well, using the clues in the map. And I don't use books. The only book I cross-reference is the Bible or the Old Testament when I get it. But it's not that I'm using any book to work any of this. You won't find this in standard. So this information just literally comes from, well, it doesn't come from nowhere, but in theory it comes from nowhere, because I just suddenly, as I will show you what's happened with the seed of Melchizadek in a minute, that well, just how I found it is miraculous basically, and what it shows you is absolutely stunning. I'll just pause you a second, guys and girls, bear with me. Okay, folks, as you can see, I've constructed the 2 pillars of the Temple of Solomon, and you see the word Fleur De Lis, right? The Fleur De Lis, right? I've realised where these Fleur De Lis go and why they're there. Now, the Jews, who seem to have a lot of information that seems to be somewhat correct, apart from they're in the wrong country, obviously. Right, the Masons also have a lot of symbology with these Fleur De Lis. Now, there's a secret message in Fleur De Lis that gives this away. But the first thing you'll notice is what I've done is I've created the 2 pillars. This is your initial. If you ignore this part for the second, and ignore well, apart from the moon, take out the middle. Right. Obviously, firstly, if you go back through the videos, what you'll see is basically this encodes to. This is a globe map, you know, the Earth. This is a star map, and basically, what it effectively does is, obviously the only thing up here is a crescent moon, but now the moon comes to the full. This is highlighting the constellation of Cancer. The constellation of Cancer, the 2 stars at the centre of Cancer represent it. Well, basically, this is a star map for the Earth. That's what it amounts to. This one would be on the Earth's wind, and this one would be on Exeter. This up here would be Holy Head. Right, but it's basically, right, going back through it again, it's difficult to cover everything, but you've got, well, firstly, the 7 stars, that's the Pleiades, is Please ID. I know I go over this, but this is so important to this because it really is ID in it. And the Jews, as I was saying, they're waiting for the 3rd temple in Jerusalem to be built. Now, I think this may be this build. Well, I don't know whether this is the actual rebuilding of the 3rd temple in Jerusalem, but clearly they're in the wrong Jerusalem when it's Jerusalem. And symbolically, what I've done is rebuilt the temple, because these basic pillars, this arch with the Cancer symbol on it. Obviously, I've drawn the temple now with the lock on the door. That's the actual shape of the temple in the Decoded Jerusalem, and the temple, the only temple in Mons, Solo Mons temple. Right. Now, I realise, or I've been shown, well, this is firstly, Please ID, the sun of the moon sign in Cancer. This is and then you draw the Cancer symbol on, gives you the safe zone. When the moon comes full, highlights the safe zone, shining the light in the darkness. Yet they don't perceive it, but there we go. Right, now these Fleur De Lis go on top of these they go on top of these pillars, because what we're doing as well as drawing this map, star map, is we're actually creating the roof symbolically of the temple, because this temple is nothing like these Middle Eastern shaped things you see. Although the Fleur De Lis could, you know, well, this is associated with royalty, but obviously it's been stolen, and I'll show you at what point I'll show you what point it was stolen now, because Fleur De Lis says, sorry, the one way or the other, but fled Siluris. So the secret code in the Fleur De Lis has fled, or Siluris fled. So why did they flee? Well, they flee because Yah destroyed the temple in Jerusalem, obviously took down the pillars, but left all the code there and the lock and everything, and all the symbology there to be obviously decoded at a later date by me, amazingly, but it is. Right, okay, what's the significance of this? Well, believe it or not, Monmouthshire has a flag. And guess what's on that flag? The exact very same thing. Monmouthshire, or the ancient kingdom of Mon. This is the 3 gold fleur de, whatever they are, like sort of like pointings on a building. Basically, there's obviously one on the roof. This one's going to well, symbolically to heaven, I guess. But obviously it overlays with the star map of Cancer as well. But these Fleur De Lis are there because the Siluris fled after the second temple is destroyed. But I'm getting that these three of them are representing the rebuilding of the third temple. There's 3 temples, 1, 2, 3. They've been destroyed twice. Yah destroyed it, put a lock on the temple last time. Obviously, I've come into the matrix because I was born, not born, but inserted into the womb in this house right by here. And this is why you have the code Joachim Boaz, which says, see him as a boy. Obviously, when I was born as a baby boy, I was inserted into the world in there, and this is the house I lived in as a baby boy. So you could, like I say, it's just way too much. And I'm also obviously born in the moon sign Cancer. My birthday's the 30th of June. Obviously, this moon was crescent until I woke up 2 years ago, or got woken up, to say the least, and I had the fastest sort of awakening in history, and end up, with no qualifications or any interest in code or really in religion or anything. And then suddenly within 2 years, I just seemed to be decoding everything. The safe zone for the end times. This is Fort Lanmelin, and I'm about to reveal something incredible with this one. Talk about hidden in plain sight. This is Kaiwent, which is the current, which is the real Jerusalem, which is actually an ancient fort. It's a lot older than what they're saying, that's for sure. And Lanmelin isn't it's really ancient. That one is in the shape of a key. That one there, this temple is in Jerusalem, right there, on the sort of centre point, almost where a door would be if you used the fort. And that's the shape, the literal shape, and that's where the Ark of the Covenant would have been kept. This is why I have a picture of the Ark. As well as having the fled Siluris, again, I've already done this as well. You've got the coffin of the tribe of Joseph on their symbology. This is the tribe of yourself, the Marco-Mannoi tribe, which is also coded in a picture of a coffin with a pickaxe that's confirmed in the Boots constellation. Like I say, you can add all this up. This is, I absolutely stand by that this is impossible to be coincidence. But this is what the Fleur De Lis is. Fleur De Lis is Siluri fled. Please ID the Siluri fled, son of the moon sign in Cancer. Please ID with the safe zone for the end times. The 2 forts, the lock and the key. When you put it together, this is the gate, the symbolic gate of the temple, which is actually the layout of the actual shape of the temple that you just lift up, basically. I don't know whether it did actually have a lock on there or probably just symbolic. But obviously the Fleur De Lis, if I put a square around that, I mean, obviously you'd have to remove and there you got your flag as well, with your 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You can check this out. That is the flag of Monmouthshire. It actually has its own flag, and ironically, I didn't even know that they had their own flag. And the only first and only place I've actually seen this flag flying, going back about a year and a bit ago, was on Kyle Went House, where I used to live, where they're rebuilding it. Because this house was absolutely destroyed when I came back to Caerwent. I mean, it was in terrible shape. It was condemned. I took my daughter past there and we were looking at it. And again, I'm wondering if this isn't part of the third temple that's being rebuilt, because they are nearly in completion. And given the time frame of everything going on in the world, I wonder if that maybe is the third and final temple actually being rebuilt. I don't know that, but I'm looking at, well, I'm just putting two and two together, but it sure seemed to be making four. Okay, so the secret of the Fleur De Lis, the Siluri fled, temple came down, destroyed it, put the lock on the gate. This is why the Monmouthshire flag carries the three symbols of the temple, one representing as well each temple being built. Coincidence? I think not. 2 seconds, guys and girls. Just quickly, guys and girls, I just want to give you an idea. There's actually a picture of the temple at Caerwent, or an estimated picture of it. And I just wanted to point out that this actually fits perfectly with what you see of the supposed Middle Eastern version of the same thing. That basically, and this would be a lot more elongated, and this would be further back. But obviously, the layout of this thing is this lock. Would in reality be further back. So if you've got a long path leading up to it, and then you've got this square and this tower. But even if you look at their picture, but obviously, like I say, they've added their own little version of the sort of Middle Eastern, making it very much the Middle East. But this is more what it's very British, whatever you want to call it. But it's obviously a British version of the temple and the Fleur De Lis, and I think, they've thrown this, made it Middle Eastern because they sort of got that sort of Middle Eastern look. But I think that came from the actual, the Welsh sort of design, as to speak. But I just wanted to make it clear that if you see, there's a picture, I'll try and get a picture of it and show you. But just wanted to clear that one up, just so you can see that this is. And when you look at, like I say, compare the layout and with these gates and to what the actual given estimates for this Temple of Solomon are supposed to be in the Middle East, and you'll see that you just change it to a British looking temple, and they're not virtually the same. So just wanted to point that out before I move on. Hi folks, and welcome back. As you can see, right, firstly, how did I come across this? Well, on Saturday, I woke up, got myself together and decided to have a little look through Facebook, see what was going on in the world. And this is how the trigger happens. Somebody had seen a crop circle and compared it, or something to do with the seal of Melchizadek. Well, at this point, I wasn't aware of a seal of Melchizedek. I still can't for the life of me see how it compares either, but either way, it was meant to trigger me to look at the seal of Melchizedek. Well, it turns out the seal of Melchizedek is chiseled into the walls of some of the Masonic lodges. And this is basically what they have in front of me. Now, it says, symbology will be there. Let me just spruce this up a bit, guys. It says symbology will be their downfall, or I've heard that mentioned, and I think that might well be what it is. Now, bear in mind, I had no comprehension of what this was. For Melchizedek, all I had was the code, and then the C Mel. All you do is unscramble it, you or the seal, sorry, just Melchizedek, C Mel, Seekid, or HID, or IDH, which is where you get the secret H man, which is mad because it's a H with a crown on it. Right, okay, and I think where do I start with this? Right, well, the first thing, unbelievably, in plain sight, C-M-E-L-I-N, or melon. So C-mel, so C-melon. Okay, so what is melon? Well, that's Clan Melon. This is the fort with the key on it. Melin, and then you've got the C, which is C as in it's a phonetic C, obviously decoded up. Also, I think you see that the Z, as I've said before, represents like well, unfortunately, the sort of the end of the age, which is, I think, well, I just get everything I'm getting is telling me that this is coming. But obviously in the middle you've also got a G. It looks very similar to a C until you look closely at it, and then you see the little tags on it. So I think they're sort of hiding that as well, a little bit as well. But it is clearly a G when you look at it. Well, there's your G, which is your lock, which is the temple I've just shown you, the lock on the temple in Jerusalem. Also Gumri. Gumri carries my name as well. Then you've got the G, and the H is the well, the HID. You've also got the star. Right, this is the Star of David, but it's deceiving because it's not. It's the Star of, this is supposed to represent, or it's the sealed up Star of Bethlehem. Well, Bethlehem is B the Mel H. Again, same thing. It's the Mel H. That's what you have to find to get this code. Is the Mel H, but and then it makes a spear of, well, the spear of destiny pointing straight to clan Melin. And you obviously see it, but then you also see the safe zone for what's coming with the end times. There's other symbols on there. There's numbers as well. They relate to tribes. There's a message in it, but for some reason it's not allowing me to get it at the minute. But rather than not put a video out, I'd rather get this one out because it's been a week. I've had a quite quiet week, and then it all sort of picked up. Right, this represents the pyramid of Joseph. There's your RIP. So that ties with your pickaxe and your coffin. This is right. This is the seal, because Melchizadek's star is actually an 8-pointed star, which would be the real. They put a seal onto the 8-pointed star of Melchizedek. I think this is their version of hiding it, but putting it in plain sight. But obviously not expecting anybody to be able to decode it. But when you've got a tetragrammaton and a Yahweh telling you what it means, obviously it doesn't take a lot to work it out. Right, this effectively is the blocking. This is the initial map coordinates, because the coordinations of Cancer would be in among them. You know, on this this triangle here would be the triangle. That would be Exeter. That would be Swindon. That would be Holy Head. And the Holy Head again is it's Y. You put the Y and the H. Yeah, Judea, Holy Head. Obviously, this is Canaan, Swindon. This is biblical Egypt, not the fake one well, the one that's been, well, it is Egypt, but it's obviously there. But YH, what you do is you just put Y and H. Ask it for net, just write it down. Y and H, and then you just unscramble it, and it tells you it's the tetragrammaton. And I always do it wrong. These are the symbols, the Jewish symbols, or the biblical symbols for the tetragrammaton, which is basically the divine plan unlocked, and that fits there. That's why that's there. This also says SEEK, seek, and then from that map you pull out a load of other stuff as well, which obviously just confirms everything I'm saying. And the G in the middle is Gumri, as well as Jerusalem. Jerusalem and Gumri are very similar in code as well. You only add a Y to G-Rum and you get Gumri, and that is why it's the temple in G-Rum as well, that's written in the Boots constellation as well, when it uses the word G-Rum, IDG-Rum. But I don't know whether Gumri comes from Jerusalem or Jerusalem comes from Gumri, but either way it certainly is the one. But the seal of Melchizedek code is C-Mel, C-H-I-D. And then you do it by ID. Just off this fort, just off this Lammelin fort, is a place called Dinham. It's literally well, I think it's the old ancient attaching village that's inside the American base. You won't find it on a map, but you will see Dinham Road that leads to it. I know because I lived on just off Dinham Road. But what this says is IDH, man. So, like I say, you have a safe zone, and the real star of this be the Mel H it, well, is amazingly is in Orion. This is the game of Orion, and it's the, well, it's the Messenger or something, but when you unscrabble it, that's what it says. When you add the H to it, tells you Messiah. I don't know what else to say, but this is what it. Well, like I said, I'm not claiming. I'm not claiming anything, but everything seems to be pointing in the same direction, and with the safe zone and all the other codes that I'm getting about what is about to, well, unfold on this earth. Time will tell, but as you can see, the seal of Melchizedek, that they're boasting about it and putting it in plain sight, because I think there's some sort of rule that they've got to, they're either just bragging rights, I don't know, or whether there's some, I think there's some cosmic deal where they have to put the truth out there, but what they do is they mix it all up in code. But to know that says C Melin, and then you've got the Melin G, right, which takes me on as well. Right, let's do this one. Right. Okay, and now this is where it gets absolutely incredible as well, because something else is coded. There is a code in Jerusalem and there is a code in Melin. Right, obviously we've got, let me just get a pen that works because I want this visible. Right, we've got G, Rus, Lem. So what you've got, I think this Lem is a carry on because they moved the Siluri, or the Israelites, as you would think of them biblically. The Siluris moved from Lan Melin, this is your Mel, and they moved to G Rus. And I think what they've done, they just combined, the name was just combined. Obviously, this is a star constellation as well, obviously a big part of the decoding of all this. And they joined the two together as A G Rus, A Mel, and join it together and you get a Jerusalem. Right. Okay, there's a code in both of these, Lam Melin and Jerus. Okay, now Jerus, oh boy, right, okay, when you reverse this it says Sir. Right, A Mel. Right, to understand this, what you've got to do, well, the tall and short of it is, let's just put it in. Surname of Mel, okay, well, right, obviously, right, my father's name was Melvin, my grandfather's name was Melvin, and this is where the original okay, so you've got Clan Melin. I've left the gap because the code in King David code, not the first original Ark of God being Caradoc. That one's an Advine ID, a divine identification, basically. So I'd follow the trail, work out who King David is. But this is a code in itself because this almost speaks of like someone coming from the line of David. Well, there's the line of David, and it's add V I D. Well, when I add V to Lam Melin, and I just take off that and put in the C, that's probably what the C is about as well, actually, on that, is replacing it, and what you get is Clan Melvin. Well, my grandfather's name again was Melvin. I'm not sure his father's name, but going by, see, what you have is two names. Well, I think the old way of doing it was you would have a Rus name. Now your Rus name, my Rus name would be Marco ap Melvin. My grandfather was Melvin. My dad was Melvin, so my dad would be Melvin ap Melvin, and then I would be Marco ap Melvin. Right, so all of the clan Melvin basically, and add VID. Well, it's Clan Melvin, the line of Melvins, and as well being the elm tree as well, which connects back to the biblical codes like Lamech, which is Sia Mel H. Oh, I forget now altogether, but there's plenty more of them, I'm sure of it. Right, now the G surname, well, when you use the Archangel code, you get the Silu as well, being the one, you know, you get Gabriel, Raphael, Uriel, and then Michael, and the only missing one is the Silu. Then you go to you put the Creator in it as well, and you get Gabriel. This should probably done side to side in truth, because I would not be underneath Gabriel, obviously. So, but I'll run it like this just for ease sake. Let's just put Yahweh. Then you've got Michael, Raphael, and Uriel. Okay, these are the 4 archangels in the code. Obviously, all surrounding Yah. Really, like I say, that should be run that way. So Yah's obviously in the middle of the angels, but he would be higher than them really. But there you've got your G Rum as well, G-R-U-M, and then YG Rum, because if you add a Y, it becomes Gumri. But Gumri is there. And this is the other name, the name that you don't hear very much about, although it's on the signs coming in, because I think they've got to, like I say, there's some sort of cosmic deal where they've got to do it. But when you unscrabble that, it also says Mr. Guy. So, G surname of Mel. Well, Marco App Melvin Guy. And my father's name was literally Melvin Guy. My grandfather's name was Mr. Melvin Guy, Mr. Melvin Guy, Mr. Marco Melvin Guy. You just could not make this up. But that is the code, and this fort seems to, well, for both of these forts, for whatever reason, obviously there's, well, I'll leave you decide. But as you can see, they definitely all coded with my family name. I'll just hold you there a second and let you divulge that. Okay. Right, I've changed colour, guys and girls. I don't know how well you can see this. I just hope it comes out correct. But as you can, right, again, you can see ancient messages. So we've had all the G, here's your map ID, Cheops, or Marco keeps freeze H or whatever it is. Then you've got all the messages written in these temples. Can you tie your map ID to a H, which is obviously the Tetragod, whatever it is in Mexico. You've got the bear one, you've got Gobli Tepe, which is, well, I better do that, which is keeps key root lit GB, I think it is, which is showing you the bear with 3 ribs in its mouth prophecy, and the route that the Russians will take when they basically invade Britain. So on keeping that route lit, that's the one to keep your eye out for, is obviously that. If that makes no sense, you need to watch the last video at least. Okay, right, so we've got some incredible messages written in, right, I got given to go to temples, so moving off the pyramids for 5, I'm sure there's plenty more of these, but I sort of get fed them in, well, I don't know how I get fed them, but I just do. Okay. Right, now this one's interesting, and it ties with another one as well, which is pretty, well, let's say it's pretty damning. Right, okay. Okay. A lamb lies king. Be alert, we map Temple 10. I think what this is basically saying is that your lamb saviour is all the work of Cain, who is, well, it goes back to Cain in the mark of Canaan. And basically they've created this lamb that's going to save everybody, and he isn't going to save anybody because the real safe zone is in Monmouthshire, and they've thrown all this. It says, be alert, we map Temple 10. Well, 10 is also map Temple 10. Well, Reuben is the attribute basically, and the Reuben, the attribute is, I think that's the right spelling. Reuben, the attribute, is the rogue tribe, basically. This is Canaan, or the ones that turned to Canaan first. The Atrebates, the root of Rome, as I've stated, they're called the Atrebates. This is the original Canaan. That's still basically the Masons and everything else. They're the follow-up on that tribe. That's what the British establishment and everything of Canaan, and this is how Canaan's got into the land. But be alert. I think it's remap Temple, be alert 10 actually, but either way. And Reuben is also, this is the attributes, that's the Roman numeral for 10, and then you've got Nebaru, obviously the warning of the final clean-up of destruction after the wars and everything else has been sorted, and this is why you need to be in the safe zone, which is Planet X. This is the old Babylonian spelling. For anybody who's new to it, you won't find under that well, you might find under that title. It'll take you to Nibiru with an I, but that's the basically the Babylonian spelling for the planet, well, Planet X, or the 10th planet. One is an attribute tribe, the other is also a rogue planet. So one is a rogue, one is an attribute, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. This is why you need to get, lose the lamb, basically, because it's a complete lie. The whole thing with Jesus, I'm afraid, is an absolute lie. And this is, if this doesn't confirm it, along with everything else that I'm being given to show you, could not have been done by anybody but the ultimate creator, who says, I am the only one, the only God, using their terminology. I am your savior. There is no other. I'm not, I can only guide you to it, and that's my job, is to guide everybody, and hopefully that you'll share, well, I don't even care if you like it, just share it, and share this message, because, like I say, this is not relying on faith. This is showing miracle after miracle after miracle, week after week after week, and showing you that there is a creator. His name is Yahweh, because there's no way I could be worshipping the wrong one, and I certainly don't work with the Masons or anything. I live in a caravan, and I'm absolutely poor, and I'm working as a security guard, doing night shifts and 6 days a week to pay my bills like everybody else. I don't intend to make any money off this, and my only motive is that, I just want to get as many people aware of this safe zone, and when it all happens, you know where to go. Okay, on to the next message, which ties beautifully with this. Bear with me. Okay, on to the next one. This is a temple as well. I'll put the word temple there just so you can see it there. Basically, it's an Apple H temple. Believe it or not, this is the actual place where it is in Belize. And everything, bear in mind that Yah purposes everything to be, so that when the time comes, obviously these messages are there, so that we can see that he transcends, time and, well, no one else could have done it. It's as simple as that, and just proving that he really is God. But this one, or the Most High, this one is absolutely amazing. Right. Okay. Not H and Paul's temple rock be lie. Okay, this one's quite revealing. First thing to know that Paul was originally in the New Testament Peter, and not H, Jesus, That's what this is saying. He's not H. And Paul's temple rock be a lie, because what you need to know is not H, Jesus, says to Peter, who becomes Paul, so who do they say I am, or something? And Peter replies on the lines of, they say you are the Son of God, or the Messiah, or whatever it is. And he says, well, and he doesn't actually say yes or confirm it, which is interesting. And he says, well, upon this rock I build my church. Well, this says not H, so he's not the Son of Man or the Messiah. And Paul or Peter's temple rock be a lie, and the whole of the Catholic Church, which is what the whole of Christianity is effectively built on, is built on this statement in the New Testament. So if that isn't damning for them, and like I say, this is not coincidence. There's just too many of these messages. Well, I know they're lying to you. They're lying to you, and there is a safe zone, and that's where you need to get to, and the whole point of revealing all this. But yeah, that's food for thought. I'll leave that one there. Bear with me. Okay, Hypogeum Hal Safalini Temple in Malta, I think it is. Okay, GH, this is the lock and the key. Holy Temple, you lie safe in map. In other words, the GH with the temple being obviously the lock, the H being the key, lying safe. Well, basically you've got the keys to the code to the safe area, obviously focusing on the Holy Temple in Jerusalem, which I've shown you the lock and everything else, and Solomon's safe map, the Combined Nations safe code. And this is obviously one for after the event, I'm guessing, or during the event, but certainly it's around there. So that's that one. Bear with me. Okay, folks, final one for today. Fortaleza de Cuelap, Peru. Okay, it says keep pure, seal a fort jewel. Now, right, the fort. Right, okay. Right, in South America, again, we've got, this is all to do with this map. Effectively, you've got, how does this work? Bear with me. The constellation of 1, 2, 3. Okay, you've got the constellation of the crane. Now, bear in mind, the decoding for Jerusalem is using G-Roots, the constellation of the crane, and that is the foundation really of the G-Roots that you overlap on to go through it all. But effectively, this is what builds up and gives you an eventual G-Roots Amel. So G-Roots is the one, Amel is the other. When you or Mel is the other. When you combine the two, you get Jerusalem. Sorry. Okay, but you've also got the constellation of the crane in South America. Going back to it just quickly, okay, the jewel of the fort jewel is between Jerusalem in the Middle East, which is written only, well, it's just a big lie basically. The JE, the whole thing with the J and the JE is the lie. Right, firstly, this place is just going quickly through it. You can work these out yourselves, but this is Guyana City, which is a guy and a city. Okay, so obviously a guy and a city. Well, I live on, my surname's Guy, and obviously I live right on and decoded the ancient city of, well, what is now known as Ventisayurum, or Kayawent is the place, but Ventisayurum is the fort, which decodes, and when you work it all out, effectively you get the Jerusalem. Okay, so it's a guy and a city, so it's my name and a city. This one, right, this is one of the brightest stars in this constellation, as is this one, as is this one, and as is this one. And there's a reason for that, because this is a message that actually says, it said, well, surname me before I was born. This is Guyana, because these are countries rather than, these are places. That's why they're lesser stars, but these are actually the actual countries. This is Guyana, Suriname, Roraima, and a place called Amapa. Okay, when you combine the four, you get the message. Anagai, surname I, Roraima, Amapa. that's the code in that's why those stars are brighter, because they literally are in the constellation of G-Rus, which is exactly that. I use Go Astronomy, 88 constellations of the night sky, because they've mixed and matched this, but the real one is there, or the real shape of it. Right, the next one along, unbelievably, is B-Mel, and just above it, right there, so you could probably just go between the two, is a place called Marco, unbelievably, and I kid you not, more surprised than anyone. So Marco, B-Mel, but you also got a mapper here. This is what this one is. A, Marco, oh, B, hang on, A, right, I think it's something, right, I'm not even going to go into it, but there's something with app, a app. So Marco, B-Mel, Marco, Mel, Melvin, and this is where you get, again, this all connects back. And these places, you can check them out, they're all there, and this makes the constellation of G Rooster Crane, obviously confirming that all right, well, let's move on. This place is Sao Louis, S-A-O-L-U-I-S, so a Sailu. Well, Sailu is the tribe. The Siluri, which I am. Sailu is also in the Archangel's code, which you get Mr. Guy, unbelievably. And the last one, which connects as well with this, is Fortaleza. It's basically that word there, which is Seal of Fort. I've shown this. If you go back on them, you'll see the constellation of the crane. I showed the picture of it. You just could not make this up. This is a guy in a city, Guyana City. This is a guy, that's Anna Guy. This one is, funny enough, Suriname. Sorry, let's just do it the right way. That's his real name, is Suriname, but it's surname sorry, that was not a mapper. That was the state of a mapper, or a mapper, and this one is Raw Army, which decodes to Raw I Am. So you've got a guy and a city, B-Mel, Marco. That should say so. Hang on, let's do that right. So a Silu. And that one says Seal of Fort, or Seals of Fortaleza. Yeah, Seals of Fort, Seal of Fort. So the Seal of Fort goes along with that. Keep pure, Seal of Fort jewel. Okay, so the jewel is, because when you connect this up, this actually connects then. If you remember on the pyramid crane, which is the representation of the current, the Egyptian. Oh, that should be it there. It's balancing on the apex. There's ropes pulling down, trying to pull it down. They connect to the Giza pyramids and everything else. But what this is doing is unbalancing the crane, because this is Ra's version, or the Egyptian version of Jerusalem, which is, because it's false Jerusalem. For number one, it's Ra's Jerusalem. And it's in Israel as well, unbelievably, because they've just deceived it. This is the pyramid of, this is to do with Horus. Jesus, I'm afraid, is Horus. And he's giving a homage to Amen Ra, because he's claiming that that's what it is. And he's the god of men, basically. And this is unhinging the Egyptian crane. Literally a crane balancing on, being weighed down, I think, by the amount of evidence obviously written in all this. Not only the Seal of Fort, well, you couldn't seal it much better than having the name, well, G Rooster Crane, the constellation mapped out on literally on South America. And really, that's That's what the upshot is. The false Jerusalem and the false Messiah being uprooted by the weight of evidence that's going into pictures, because this is obviously pictured from drawn on a map as well. Makes a pyramid. It gives you the code for the Pharaoh's secret. That's Worcester, Rose secret. Then you've got, oh, I forget how it goes all together, but all these coordinates match up, and what you have is effectively a pyramid. And by here is Llanfair Discoid. When you combine Worcester and Llanfair Discoid, you get what is it? Something as an ID Clan Pharaoh's secret. So the Clan Pharaoh being right. This is why there's so much Egyptian stuff being shown with these pyramids, because there's the code for Egypt is egg ya put in Egypt, and then you get the word, you get the triangle with the guy in it. Again, you get the name guy in it. You have to go back on this, which gives you Gumri, which puts my name on this pyramid. So the egg he laid in Egypt, which is modern day system that we're in. When I was born into this world, he's laid an egg in Egypt, or placed an egg in Egypt to hatch out later date. Uncover all this by connecting with the Tetragrammaton and so on and so forth, unraveling the Pharaoh's secret. The Pharaohs are those that rule this world at this point, because it's all done in the name of Amen Ra. That, you know, even the Vatican, in God we trust, pictures of pyramids on your on your dollar or your idol Ra. Your doll Ra is obviously your idol with your eye on it. And in God we trust. The same God as the Vatican, the same God as the same God as the Canaan, or the current day British establishment and monarchy. They all worshipping the God of Egypt. They've made themselves gods among men. That's what they've done. But there we go. So I'm going to leave it there, guys and girls. I was going to do the Great Seal of Solomon, but it seems I'm not going to have time. So on that note, I'll let you ponder on all this, and like I say, get ready, because the time is, I'm absolutely positive that we are going into a time of war, and it's about to kick off, and they know, well, they know what's coming, I'm sure of it. And this is the time to get right, people. Get your hands up, stand in the letter Y. I'm clearly proving the existence of the Almighty and telling you his name is Yahweh. His arm is out. He's willing. He says he's got forgiveness in abundance. And I'm not telling you this because I read a book and the rest is faith. And I expect you to have faith. Go back over these codes. Go back 8-9 videos, I guess, because it really starts to heat up when you get in. And the pictures in the map, there is nobody on this earth. When he said he made new works, these are his new works, people. I have no doubt about it. He says, and he's done exactly as he said. He's left messages. I show you things in ancient times, you know, and all these things are from ancient times. You couldn't make it up. These pyramids, there's messages, but he's obviously predicting everything and coming right. The Old Testament is a codex with story, obviously the stories of Moses and all, but this did not take place in the Middle East. As I've said, they've moved everything abroad, made them into countries, but what they are, even like places like Persia, I don't know if this is right, but Perthshire, Surrey there's something where somebody else is finding stuff that Surrey has connection with Syria. And that all these place names that they've changed, because bear in mind, they've got no problem changing the Old Testament, because they took the Creator's name out of it 6,800 times. So to adjust other things up, obviously they've done it, and they've made this fit their story and their Messiah and everything. But let me tell you, there's no doubt who the real Creator is, and he tells you there is no other Saviour but him. So Jesus intercepting it. The only thing that Jesus saved is Rome, and that's the truth. And he puts into slavery, and that's where we are now. And the time is coming. Well, I know it's fast approaching, and it's going to go downhill before it gets better. But know where the safe zone is. It's a place called Caerwent in South Wales. Little tiny village with an ancient city that's now the size of a big village, and this is the safe zone. I've proved it over and over and over. There's just too much of this that it's way beyond coincidence, people, and I stand by it. And when Russia comes through Finland, be prepared to be prepared to move, because that's going to be the sign. Well, you'll see Finland will be get ready. Sweden and Norway will definitely be, their boots will be on British soil. You know, this is going to happen. I'm absolutely positive it. World events are clearly heading towards this code, and everything I've shown you, I can back up. This is not some fantasy. You know, I didn't ever plan to be in this position. I don't even know how I got in this position, but clearly things were established before I was born. I don't know, but however, clearly things are being revealed to me, because your average Joe, never mind a security guard, just academically non-intelligent and had no interest in code, could unravel all this on his own, and there is no way at all. And I've seen it miracle after miracle in this code, and it just keeps coming. So get right with Yahweh, stand on the letter Y, sins on your palms, just confess everything. There's no point denying anything, because he already knows. I can assure you, I'm testament to that. I've already been down that road, and I had to come clean to do this and give up everything. So please, people, you know, my only motive is, you know, obviously I want people I don't want people to be in the wrong place when this all goes wrong. I want them to be in the right place. And like I say, get right with your Creator, and I'll see you on the next video.